Moroccan literature is a literature written in Arabic, Berber, French, Spanish and of course particularly by people of Morocco, but also of Al-Andalus, 1000 to 1500. Moroccan literature saw its first flowering in the period of the Almoravid dynasty. In this period two writers stand out, Ayyad ben Musa and Ibn Bajia, and in Al-Andalus, Al-Tutali, Ibn Baki, Ibn Kafahar and Ibn Sa'al. An impression of a number of great poets of the period is given in anthologies and biographies like Qaridat al-Qusar, al-Mutraban Mujamaz Sifr. From 1086, Morocco in Al-Andalus, with its rich tradition from the Umayyads, formed one state, and the Almoravid sultans stimulated culture in their courts and in the country. Ibn Bassam dedicated his anthology Dakira fi Mahaz and Ahl al-Ghazira to Abu Bakr ibn Umar, and Ibn Kakan his Qala al-Akin to Yusuf ibn Tashfin. The early Almoravid movement had itself been influenced by the writings of Abu Imran al-Farsi. Under the Almohad dynasty, Morocco experienced another period of prosperity and brilliance of learning. The Almohad built the Marrakesh Koutoubia Mosque, which accommodated no fewer than 25,000 people, but was also famed for its books, manuscripts, libraries and bookshops, which gave it its name. The first book bazaar in history. The Almohad Sultan Abu Yaqub Yusuf had a great love for collecting books. He founded a great private library, which was eventually moved to the Kasbah of Marrakesh and turned into a public library. Under the Almohads, the sovereigns encouraged the construction of schools and sponsored scholars of every sort. Ibn Rushdi, Ibn Tufail, Ibn Zur, Ibn al-Abba, Ibn Amira, and many more poets, philosophers and scholars found sanctuary and served the Almohad rulers. During the reign of the Marinid dynasty, it was especially Sultan Abu Inan Faris who stimulated literature. He built the Boanania Madrasa and created the library of the University of Al-Qarawiyyin in Fez. At his invitation, the icon of Moroccan literature Ibn Battuta returned to settle down in the city of Fez and write his Rihla, a travelogue in cooperation with Ibn Juzay. Abdulaziz al-Malzuzi and Malik ibn al-Marahil are considered as the two greatest poets of the Marinid era. Historiographers were, among many others, Ismail ibn al-Amma and Ibn Idari. Poets of Al-Andalus, like Ibn Abd al-Rundi and Salih ben Sharif al-Rundi, settled in Morocco, often forced by the political situation of the Nasrid kingdom. Both Ibn al-Khatib and Ibn Zamrak, viziers and poets whose poems can be read on the walls of the Alhambra, found shelter here. The heritage left by the literature of this time that saw the flowering of Al-Andalus and the rise of three Berber dynasties had its impact on Moroccan literature throughout the following centuries. University of Fez. For the beginning of the 12th century, the University of Fez played an important role in the development of Moroccan literature. Among the scholars who studied and taught there were Ibn Khaldun, Ibn al-Khatib, al-Banani, al-Bitruji, Ibn Herzihim and al-Wazn. The writings of Sufi leaders have played an important role in Moroccan literature from this early period until now. 1500 to 1900. The possession of manuscripts of famous writers remained the pride of courts and zawiyas throughout the history of Morocco until the modern times. The great Saadian ruler Ahmed al-Mansur was a poet king. Poets of his court were Ahmad ibn al-Quadi, Abdulaziz al-Fishtali. Ahmed Muhammad al-Makari lived during the reign of his sons. The Saadi dynasty contributed greatly to the library of the Taroudant, another library established in time that was that of Taimgrut. A large part of it remains today. By a strange coincidence, the complete library of another Saadian ruler has also been transmitted to us to the present day. Due to circumstances in a civil war, the Sultan Zadam had his complete collection transferred to a ship. The commander of the ship stole the ship and brought it to Spain, where the collection was transmitted to El Escorial. Some of the main genres differed from what was prominent in European countries: songs, biographies and historical chronicles like the Nazar al-Hadi by Akbar Muluk al-Khan al-Hadi of Muhammad al-Ifrani, and the chronicles of Muhammad al-Qadiri, accounts of journeys like the Rihla of Ahmad ibn Nizir, religious treatises and letters like those of Muhammad al-Arabi al-Darqawi and Ahmad ibn Idris al-Farsi. Famous Moroccan poets of this period were Abdurrahman el-Majdoub, al-Masfiwi, Muhammad Orzal and Hamouti al-Bi. Modern times. 3 generations of writers have specially shaped 20th-century Moroccan literature. The first was the generation that lived and wrote during the Protectorate, its most important representative being Muhammad ben Brahim. The second generation was the one that played an important role in the transition to independence, with writers like Abdulkarim Ghalab, al-Alfasi and Muhammad al-Muqtasusi. The third generation is that of writers of the 60s. Moroccan literature then flourished with writers such as Muhammad Chowkri, Driss Krabi, Muhammad Zafzaf and Driss El Khoury. Those writers were an important influence for many Moroccan novelists, poets and playwrights that were still to come. During the 1950s and 1960s, Morocco was also a refuge for writers from abroad as Paul Bowles, Tennessee Williams, Brian Gisson, William S. Burroughs and Jack Kerouac. In 1966, a group of Moroccan writers founded a magazine called Soufflés that was prohibited by the government in 1972 but gave impetus to the poetry and modern romantic works of many Moroccan writers. List of Moroccan writers. Template. The number of Moroccan writers increased dramatically after Morocco's independence.